I'm Jeff Hayward and I work with the Rainforest Alliance. It's an international conservation and environmental organization working worldwide in Asia, Africa, Latin America to sustain livelihoods and conserve biodiversity. Climate-smart agriculture is a holistic evolution in agriculture which reflects that sustainable agriculture actually needs to be addressing the impacts of climate change, and the impacts of climate change predominantly on smallholder farmers. But it could be on any size of farmers. And it helps farmers to actually adapt to the risks and the threats of climate change, and it also works to see if they can reduce the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to climate change that come from their farming. Climate-smart agriculture from the perspective of Rainforest Alliance is not entirely something new. It's building on to decades and decades of best practice in agriculture. But it's giving it a much more important focus of actually helping farmers to increase their productivity so that they can be more resilient to the impacts of climate change. It's helping them to develop social safety nets. It's helping them to plan to be more effective in how they manage their farm and how they adapt to the changes and threats that are coming from climate change. It could be working with them to improve the quality of the soil, to improve the ability of the soil to maintain moisture during dry periods. It may be working with them to access finance, to develop techniques to irrigate their farms or to store water for the dry periods. It may be working with them to help strategies to reduce dependency on agrochemicals or on pesticides, and by reducing those, you reduce the amount of greenhouse gas emissions. And it could be working with them to restore native vegetation into their farming systems, and by doing that, through tree planting, for example, you add more carbon and pull carbon out of the atmosphere. Rainforest Alliance is very excited to announce that in September, the Sustainable Agriculture Network launched revised standards for sustainable agriculture, which are those that lead to Rainforest Alliance certification. Currently, there are about 1.3 million farmers who have this certification, and this new set of standards is really going to help us in the field to improve the quality of farmer livelihoods and farm management at a global scale. We're really excited for a number of reasons. There are stricter provisions for human rights, for worker rights. There are stricter conservation measures for forest areas that will lead to less deforestation due to agriculture by uptake in these standards. And they're being applied at a global level. Rainforest Alliance is also working in the field at projects scale with smallholder cocoa farmers in West Africa. And one of the innovative methods that we're using to help them adapt to climate change is working together with partners like the Center for International Tropical Agriculture, who are evaluating global climate models and taking that information to create maps in Ghana that will help farmers understand how climate change may affect them, not only 10 years from now, but by 2040 or 2050, so that they can get an idea of what decisions and changes they might have to make their farming more resilient going into the future. So for us, it's a really interesting project that's working with thousands of farmers at a landscape level, taking global climate science information and turning it into tailored packages of response strategies for farmers at their household and farm level.